This coming week, closing arguments begin in the Jodi Arias trial. The state rested their rebuttal case Thursday, but not before calling the medical examiner back to the witness stand. Listen here to some of the shocking testimony.
If the bullet wound was the first wound that was received by Mr. Alexander, would it have been immediately incapacitating?
Yes.
And why would it have been incapacitating?
Because of brain injury.
You're aware that Detective Flores said that you told him the bullet wound was not immediately incapacitating.
I don't recall that, no.
You've said once before, in this case, I don't think it would have immediately incapacitated him or killed him, but it would be a serious injury.
I corrected my own misstatement.
So when you told this jury that it was not immediately incapacitating, that was a mistake on your part?
Former prosecutor Holly Hughes and criminal defense attorney Joey Jackson join me with this. Jodi, she started crying when those gruesome autopsy photos of Travis on that huge screen were shown in the courtroom. Holly, was that smart for the prosecution to go that way?
Well, absolutely. They want to remind the jury, number one, that this was a brutal, brutal slaying. So they want to leave the jury with this. Remember, Natasha, they're taking a long break. So they're not coming back to the courtroom. They've got the entire weekend to sit there with those thoughts. And what's resonating is the brutality and the viciousness of this attack. And what it also does is it proves, based on the medical examiner's testimony, Dr. Kevin Horn, that Jodi lied, that she did not shoot him first. And basically what the prosecution wants the jury to believe is if you can't even believe her about the order, the sequence of events, you can't believe her about anything.
Well, let's ask our criminal defense attorney, Joey Jackson. What do you think? Should the prosecution have gone this way?
Absolutely. Holly is right on point, as usual, but here's the critical issue. This also goes to death. Remember, it's a death penalty case, Natasha, and as a result, what they have to show, that is the prosecution, is that she acted, of course, in a premeditated way, that is, she plotted and planned the murder in a premeditated way, but further, they have to show the prosecution cruelty, because cruelty, Natasha, is what we call an aggravating circumstance, and certainly I don't think anyone would disagree that if you cut and slash and slice someone and then thereafter you shoot them, that's cruel. And so the prosecution was putting the final nail in her coffin in having this witness testify that, you know what, the shot came last.
And you know, those photos, they really seem to get to Jodi. I mean, she really seemed visibly shaken by all of this. What do you guys think? I know there's a lot going on in that courtroom. We're hearing a third juror is out now. Does that affect things? How many jurors do you go down before you don't have a trial anymore, Holly?
Well, what they're hoping, you know, the defense is hoping if they can lose another 3 or 4, then you can't have deliberations. But I don't foresee that happening. We are in the last home stretch, Natasha. We know closing arguments are coming up next week. And so with the dismissal of this particular juror, they still have 3 alternates left. They only need to have 12 to begin deliberations. So we all just need to cross our fingers that nothing else happens to any of the jurors before they start deliberations, because bear in mind, even if they did start, Natasha, with 12 and deliberated and something happened to one of them and there was nobody left to take the place, it's a mistrial. You've got to have all 12 in there to come to verdict.
So it all comes down to this, the closing arguments in the Jodi Arias trial. After that, the jury gets the case. Our HLN trial experts will be there to walk you through every moment. HLN's the only place that you can watch it. The Arias trial closing arguments next week only on HLN.